For more than 2,000 years, the Battle of Thermopylae has been remembered as one of history's greatest acts of courage. Most people know the famous story of 300 Spartans standing against an enormous Persian army. But the real story is even more remarkable. In 480 BC, the Persian Empire was the largest and most powerful empire the world had ever seen. After the defeat of King Darius at the Battle of Marathon 10 years earlier, his son, King Xerxes I, prepared an invasion unlike anything Greece had faced before. Ancient historians claimed his army numbered in the millions, although modern historians believe it was probably between 100,000 and 200,000 soldiers, still overwhelming compared to the Greek forces. The Persian army crossed the Hellespont on two massive pontoon bridges and marched south toward Greece. Alongside the army came hundreds of ships, creating one of the greatest military expeditions of the ancient world. The Greek city-states knew they could not defeat such a force in an open battle. Instead, they searched for a place where numbers would matter less. They chose Thermopylae, a narrow mountain pass between steep cliffs and the sea. At its narrowest point, only a few soldiers could fight side by side, preventing the Persians from using their numerical superiority. King Leonidas of Sparta was chosen to lead the defense. Contrary to popular belief, he did not arrive with only 300 men. Nearly 7,000 Greek soldiers from many city-states gathered at Thermopylae. Among them were Spartans, Thespians, Thebans, Corinthians, Phocians, Arcadians, and others united against a common enemy. The famous 300 were not the entire army. They were Leonidas's personal royal guard, selected because each man had already fathered a son, ensuring his family line would survive if he fell in battle. When Xerxes reached Thermopylae, he expected the Greeks to surrender immediately. According to ancient sources, he waited 4 days, believing fear alone would drive them away. Instead, the Greeks remained where they stood. On the 5th day, the Persian attack began. Wave after wave of Persian infantry charged into the narrow pass. The Greek hoplites fought shoulder to shoulder behind heavy bronze shields, using long spears and disciplined formations. The narrow battlefield neutralized the Persian advantage in numbers. Again and again, Persian assaults were repelled. Even Xerxes' elite force, the Immortals, failed to break the Greek line. The Spartans became famous for their discipline, often pretending to retreat before suddenly turning and striking their pursuers. Their tactics, training, and equipment proved devastating inside the confined pass. For 2 full days, the Persians suffered heavy losses while the Greeks held their ground. But victory would not come through strength alone. A local Greek named Ephialtes betrayed his homeland by revealing a hidden mountain path known as the Anapeia Pass. Guided by Ephialtes, Persian troops marched through the night and appeared behind the Greek defenders. When Leonidas learned that his army had been surrounded, he faced an impossible decision. Rather than sacrifice every Greek soldier, he ordered most of the Allied forces to withdraw. Then came the moment that would become legend. Leonidas remained behind with his 300 Spartans. Around 700 Thespians voluntarily refused to leave, choosing to fight beside the Spartans until the very end. A smaller force of Thebans also remained, though ancient sources disagree on whether they stayed willingly or under orders. Knowing death was certain, these men prepared for one final stand. The last battle was brutal. The Greeks fought until many of their spears were broken. They drew their swords and continued fighting. When even their swords failed, ancient writers described them resisting with whatever weapons remained. King Leonidas was killed during the fighting, and both sides fought fiercely over his body. Eventually, overwhelmed by Persian numbers and surrounded from every direction, the remaining defenders fell. The Persians had won the battle, but they had not broken the Greek spirit. The stand at Thermopylae delayed the Persian advance and gave the Greek alliance valuable time to prepare its defenses. Only weeks later, the Greek navy achieved a decisive victory at the Battle of Salamis, forcing Xerxes to retreat with much of his army. The following year, the remaining Persian forces were defeated at the Battle of Plataea, ending the invasion. Thermopylae became far more than a military defeat. It became a symbol of courage, sacrifice, and the willingness to stand for freedom against impossible odds. Even today, visitors to Thermopylae can read the famous epitaph written for the Spartans. "Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie." More than 25 centuries later, the story of Thermopylae continues to remind the world that history is not always shaped by those who survive, but sometimes by those who choose to stand their ground.